In this podcast episode, what I'd like to talk about is something that I've noticed a lot of businesses in general, but martial arts clubs especially in the UAE doing. And that is claiming they are the best. And of course, as a character development organization that teaches martial arts and is often seen as a martial arts organization, we would love to strive to be the best. I think martial arts clubs in general are very, very competitive. And so I really, this week, was having a long think about what makes a martial arts club the best. And I think it comes down to 10 different factors. There are 10 things I believe a martial arts club needs in order to be the best. So what I'd like to do is to list those out, and then I'd like to dive into how we at the Warrior Academy are striving to be the best. And then I'd like to leave it up to the parents to make their own judgment. Any of the listeners who are listening to this podcast episode can then use this as a tool to analyze their child's martial arts club, wherever you are in the world, based on what we think makes a martial arts club the best. So the first thing is the awards. Does the martial arts club have any awards? Are they award winning, both in their teaching, their experience, their transformations, or what they've achieved over the years? So the first thing is awards. The next thing is credibility. How much credibility do the instructors have? Are they very high-ranked Dan grades? Do they have years or decades of teaching experience? Have they competed at a very high level? So the second thing there is credibility. The third thing is social proof. So are they highly reviewed? Do they have lots of online reviews? Are there dozens of video testimonials? The fourth thing is having a unique methodology, or are they constantly innovating? Is there something really special that they specialize in that makes them very different to other martial arts clubs out there? The next thing is national recognition. The best way, I feel, to be the best is not to call yourself the best, but for other people to call you the best. And that's even better when it's a national body or the national press calling you the best. The next thing is the facilities. Are the facilities obviously safe, but are they also designed around the unique methodology or the USP or the specialism of that martial arts club? Are they clean? Are they inviting? Are they modern? Are they kept? Are they well kept? Are they inviting for parents to stay in as well? Is there a community aspect there? The next thing is community. So community, I think, for a martial arts club is really important because it's not just about the students, it's about the parents coming and watching and enjoying the space, as well as feeling at home at the dojo. So the next thing there is community. The next thing after that is retention. Is there really good retention at the clubs? So in most clubs around the world, the retention rate is about 75% of students leave each year. That's the typical attrition rate, if you like. So retention is how many students actually stay. The next thing is opportunities. What opportunities are there for the students to A, compete at a very high level, and B, are there any job opportunities, or is there a stepping stone from the club and the program and the learning they've got onto something else more exciting for the future as they grow into adults? So those are the criteria: awards, credibility, social proof, unique methodology, national recognition, facilities, community, retention, and opportunities. Those are the things that I believe, having worked in this space for the last 15 years and worked with 30,000 children around the world in 3 or 4 different continents, that make a martial arts club the best. So now what I'd love to do is to share how the Warrior Academy strives to be the best in each of those areas. So the first thing is awards. That was the first criteria. The Warrior Academy has been featured in the national press in lots of countries. So I think in over 4 countries we've been featured in the national press. But in terms of awards, we've won or become finalists in over 10 national and international awards for our work, primarily for our work around customer service or the transformations we've got with children. In our last competition where we won, we were actually, it was the Golf Customer Service Awards, and we were blown away to be competing against some really big companies. So as a small family-run business, to be just named as finalists was incredible. In our group of 6, there were some massive companies, including Carrefour and some others just as big. But we actually won. We won for customer service. And we didn't just win within our category, we won within the entire competition of 50 plus businesses. So I think for us, that was one of our proudest moments. But it's been over 10 international and national awards that we've won and become finalists in. Credibility. So credibility is the next criteria, and that all comes down to the instructors teaching your children. How credible are they? Well, within our organization, and I'll put in the description of this video actually on YouTube, the breakdown of each instructor so you can see how credible they are. But many are national, international, European, or world champions within their styles. They don't just have experience in one style of martial arts, they've got experience in multiple styles of martial arts. They are multiple gold medalists around the world in lots of different countries. And that's all great because that's martial arts. But one of the things we really look for is teaching experience. And many of our instructors have 10, 20, or 30, or even 40 years, so 4 decades of teaching experience, working with young people to train them in multiple styles of martial arts, which it's something that's incredibly rare about our organization. When you add up the number of years that all of our instructors have been teaching, it's actually quite remarkable just how long the instructors have been studying martial arts and teaching young people. The next criteria there is having a unique methodology. Within the Warrior Academy, we've got 2 best-selling books, Not a Victim, about bullying, about anti-bullying and how to prepare your child for bullying, and the Warrior Method, so the 4-step Warrior Method that we use to develop children's character. Both books became bestsellers, and we use them to highlight our unique methodologies in developing the character of young people. So for us, I think that's a real separator. There aren't any organizations that I've found that have a published best-selling book on their methodologies, let alone 2 of them. And it really guides our instructors as well as helping our parents as well. The next thing is national recognition. I've mentioned before with this criteria that we've been featured in the national press of 4 different countries, but we've actually been noted by Colleagues Times as Dubai's leading martial arts club. We're responsible for training about 4 different royal families from around the world, primarily in the Middle East, who seek us out above others because of our national recognition. So we're really proud of that. The next thing is our facilities. So one of the challenges I found with martial arts clubs in the UAE, when we were trying to build our first academy here, was that they are typically very big warehouses in Al Quoz. So what you'll find is that an instructor gets a warehouse, puts jigsaw mats all over the floor, and job done. There's your martial arts studio. But the reality is, when a child who is low in confidence visits a big empty warehouse like that, you can just imagine how overwhelming that is. They walk into the warehouse and immediately, it's loud, it's big, it's scary, it's not particularly intimate. And for me, that's kind of setting a child up to fail if your primary goal is to develop their confidence. So for us, we wanted to take a very, very different route. We actually partnered with an award-winning interior design company in Dubai who specialize in helping people create spaces that reduce anxiety. So we wanted a space where children would walk in, parents would walk in, and immediately feel at home. Just a quick shout out to the guys at Shield who manage this podcast, come up with the strategy behind the podcast, help me schedule interviews as well as do all of the editing and the producing of the podcast. Without them, we wouldn't be able to produce this podcast. If you would like to create your own podcast, I can't recommend the Shield team enough. They have done well over 100 episodes for me over the last few years, and I've been so pleased with the results. So have a look in the description of this video or the podcast episode, and you'll see how to get in touch with them yourself. So we created these boutique-style minimalist dojos and community areas where parents and children felt at home immediately. And what we found is that as soon as we switched from big spaces to small spaces and kept our class sizes to 10 to 12 students max, we had this incredible effect on a students' well-being, how happy they were, how quickly they joined in, how the nervous students transitioned from not joining in at all and sitting out to actually feeling a part of it. They weren't overwhelmed by a big empty room with loud noises echoing and lots of students running around. There was a very calm atmosphere. And so also within our community rooms, we've done exactly the same thing. If you look at our community rooms, there's often complimentary coffee and snacks. Parents are well looked after. It's kept clean and tidy. And there's a very welcoming atmosphere throughout. So facilities are massively important. That's why we've heavily invested in producing incredible facilities in our centres around the world. The next thing is community. So community I put down as a criteria because I feel it's so important for martial arts clubs to have a strong community, because essentially we're working with families. When you're working with families, community is absolutely vital. It's step number one in our 4-step methodology: community, inspire, challenge, lead. Community being the foundation from which your child's character will grow. When a child is not part of a strong community, they're less likely to leave their comfort zone and grow. So it's cementing that strong community, which we do through monthly events to bring our community together. So pizza and movie nights. We do special events where we partner with other companies as well as our competitions and many other things that we do. The next thing is retention. So in terms of retention, most students stay with us for over 3 years. The majority stay with us for 6 years. It takes 8 years to get a black belt with us. And so students are on this black belt journey, which essentially lasts a very long time. And what that means is students have to be motivated. So we've built our program to guide students from initially coming to class and kind of feeling a lot of extrinsic motivation to be there, a lot of encouragement from mum and dad, and then eventually being intrinsically motivated, where they understand the value of the black belt and they themselves want to achieve it. They've got this inner drive. I think that really drives up our retention. So 6+ years retention is a really high figure. We're really proud of the fact that most people tend to stay with us, even in an expat community where parents are moving around and changing countries quite frequently. The final thing is opportunities for students and staff. So I think this is important because when you are enrolled in a martial arts club as a young person, you're learning life skills. And so we take that really seriously. When a child goes through the Warrior Academy program, we know how long it takes to get a black belt and how hard that is. It takes about 8 years. You go to most other martial arts clubs, especially Taekwondo, and you can get a black belt within 3 or 4 years. Within the Warrior Academy, we've got so much integrity with our belt system that we know what quality black belts we're going to produce at the other end, that we guarantee any student who gets a black belt with us a job. And so in the UK, where we started 12, 13 years ago, we've had students who have been training with us for so long that they've completed their black belt training, they've got their assistant instructor qualification, and they now teach a paid position as a part-time instructor. Following on a year from that, as an adult, we then offer them full-time placements around the world in our clubs. We've actually moved one student who was an assistant instructor as a teenager from the UK to Dubai as a full-time instructor because they were so exceptional. And they're now here living in Dubai, teaching our students in Dubai. I think that's incredible as an opportunity from a small business or a small club to be able to provide its students. But we also offer incredible opportunities for competition. So we've got an amazing way that we feel using our in-house competition style to raise students up, to build their confidence so they can then go and compete at much bigger competitions. We've actually done about 30 competitions over the last 12 years. That's 30 in-house competitions where we have 300 or 400 people coming along to compete and to spectate, which makes us one of the biggest providers of competitions out there within martial arts in the UAE, but also the UK and the Southwest especially. But on top of that, we've also encouraged students and mentored students to compete outside of our organisation, where we've created over 50 national champions in the UK. We've even had a scholarship student in one of our scholarship academies in Nepal become a national champion through our training. So we really do promote that as well. So that's it. Those are the criteria I feel that make the martial arts club in your area the best. So when you're listening to this as a parent, wherever you are in the world, whether you're a Warrior Academy parent or not, hopefully by sharing the information from the Warrior Academy side, I've made it clear how we're striving to be the best in the Warrior Academy. And ultimately it's up to parents whether you feel we are. But hopefully this is also a good gauge if you're not in the Warrior Academy to see how your child's club stacks up. How many of those criteria are they fulfilling? So that is all from this episode, a little bit longer than normal, lots to get through. I hope you found that insightful and interesting. Maybe you learned a bit more about us at the Warrior Academy and what we're up to. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss another episode. See you soon. I really hope you enjoyed today's Warrior Academy podcast episode. We're going to keep creating these episodes because I know that so many parents find them useful or get insights or get ideas about how to develop their child's character. But it all comes down to the 3 C's: confidence, conduct, and concentration. So if you want to get a deep insight into the levels of confidence your child has, the level of concentration they have, or the level of conduct they have, so that you can actually put a score next to it and then work towards increasing those scores like we do in the Warrior Academy, then I'd love to invite you to fill in the Breakthrough Area Assessment. It takes about 5 minutes of your time, and you will get a personalized PDF report on your child's 3 C's. To access the Breakthrough Area Assessment and find out your child's 3 C's score, all you need to do is go to www.breakthrougharea.com.